Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
It's a great day. I'm Mark Imperial, and welcome to the program. This is the show where we spotlight noteworthy professionals from across the country and in your town. Michael Watkins is an investment advisor representative and retirement income planner. His unique holistic approach to retirement income planning is undoubtedly a breath of fresh air for concerned baby boomers. And many of Michael's clients say that working with him has been the best experience they've ever had regarding their investments and finances. Michael's job is retirement income planning, but his passion really is teaching. Michael, welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me on the show today, Mark. Appreciate it.
So tell me about your business.
Well, I own the Tampa Bay Advisory, which is an independent advisory firm located in Oldsmar, Florida. And it's also important to note, Mark, that as an investment advisor representative, I serve my clients in a fiduciary capacity.
Michael, what exactly is a fiduciary? Could you explain that?
Sure, Mark. Fiduciary is an advisor that holds specific licensing and registration, and they're also held to the highest standards of delivering unbiased, accurate information and advice for folks, which means all of that information and advice must be in the client's best interest before that of the advisor or his or her firm. Now, I specialize in retirement income planning, and as a holistic advisor and fiduciary, I guide my clients through a very unique and educational journey of their finances so that they can gain more clarity, confidence, and peace of mind.
Who are the types of folks that you serve? Who are your main clients?
Well, typically, the majority of my clients are 50 years and older, and most of them have $250,000 or more of investable assets. And by the way, Mark, many of them are very concerned about outliving their money in retirement. Now, our primary goal is to help folks fulfill their retirement dreams by living a life of financial security and peace of mind. And we do this by working together to co-design a structured income plan. And this in-depth look into their retirement future, Mark, is something that they will be hard-pressed to find anywhere else. Now, teaching and educating my clients all the pros and cons of different products and services is really important to me, and most of my clients really seem to appreciate the attention to detail that I offer.
Michael, what inspired you to get into teaching folks about finances? How did you get started in your field?
Well, it started out through personal discovery, Mark. I've been an entrepreneur most of my adult life, and along the journey, I've enjoyed much success as a business owner. And in my own search for different ways to increase my income and save for retirement, that led me to real estate investing and managing my own trading accounts. Well, the stock market and real estate crash of 2007, 2008 really got my attention.
I think that got everyone's attention.
Without question. And it was because of that blindsided financial disaster, I started to look more closely at how I could potentially avoid such drawdowns in the future. And believe me, it was a winding, twisting road with lots of ups and downs. And not only did I explore many products and services, I thoroughly examined different companies and their business models as well. So it's no wonder why so many folks today are bewildered and unsure about which way to go when planning for their retirement. So it's through lots of research and personal trials and errors that have led me to where I am today, which is precisely why I'm so passionate about delivering accurate information and advice for my clients.
Can you tell us what's the most common pitfall or misconception preventing your clients from achieving this outcome?
Yeah, without hesitation, Mark, it's this. Not all financial advice is it equal, or is it in the best interest of clients? Now, please let me explain. If you were to ask 10 different financial advisors the same question, chances are that you would get 10 different answers. And most likely those answers would be based on the companies, products, and services those advisors represent. In the financial world, that's called being captive, which means those advisors are only allowed to offer what their company has and nothing else. You see, the banks and the big retail brokerage houses have proprietary products to sell and sales quotas to meet. There is great internal pressure there to sell what their brand is offering.
Isn't that a conflict of interest in any way?
Yes, it is, Mark, but it's not illegal unless the advisor is a fiduciary. This is why I feel so compelled to help people avoid unknowing mistakes by simply purchasing products because someone says it's the best. Well, it might be the best that their company has to offer, but what folks are not being told sometimes is that better products and services do exist. That's why working with a fiduciary is so important for your financial success in retirement.
That makes sense. So is there anything else that they should be aware of?
Yes, there is. Another big problem that I see out there today, Mark, is too much information. Let's face it, we live in a world where we're bombarded with hundreds of advertisements every day, from billboards to radio, TV, internet, direct mail, you name it. And this really makes it hard for people to make informed decisions when they're facing hundreds of choices. Here's a good example. Mark, have you ever tried typing in the word investments into a Google search? You get 350 million results in half a second. No wonder people are confused.
I can only imagine what that would bring up. Yeah, absolutely. That's a bit crazy.
It really is, Mark. And from there, you have all the underlying agendas as well. I see highly credible spokespeople out there pitching products and services, but until you build a plan that determines your exact income and retirement needs, how in the world can anyone determine what to use? That's simply just called winging it. And in my world, we're a lot more serious about your financial future than just selling a few products and calling it a day. I think the question that a lot of folks need to ask themselves is, do I want to buy a few products and hope for the best? Or do I want to know that all of my income and retirement needs are being met so I can sleep soundly at night?
So, Michael, how can your clients avoid or overcome this challenge to achieve a successful outcome?
Mark, to be candid, they can come in and see me. I offer a 45-minute get-to-know-you meeting where we simply talk about their goals, challenges, and wishes for retirement. And from there, we can determine whether or not we should even have a second meeting. That's as simple and honest as I know how to make it.
That sounds fair enough. So is your process low pressure?
It's actually no pressure, Mark. There's one thing that I've learned from all my years in business, and it's this. When you treat folks with the respect and straightforwardness that they're looking for, everything else works itself out. I will say this, though. Trust is the most important element in what I do. Now, I feel like I'm a pretty intuitive guy, and I also feel that most folks are blessed with a certain inner spirit or intuitiveness that guides them either towards or away from certain situations. And when folks feel comfortable with me and their process, then that's a great starting point on which we build that trust.
So can you tell us what their outcome actually looks like?
Well, sure. The first thing we do, Mark, is we help them build a retirement budget in today's dollars that we will adjust for inflation later. By the way, the great investor Warren Buffett calls inflation a cruel tax. And many folks are missing this calculation altogether. And by the time they're in their 70s or 80s, their quality of life will not be what they thought it would be based on the constant erosion of their dollars and that ability to keep up with the current cost in those future years. That really troubles me professionally. Next, I help them build their own personal Social Security analysis, showing them the best strategies for claiming and maximizing their benefits. Many folks are just winging it on Social Security as well. The third thing we do is a personal wealth index report. It's a proprietary report that we've developed, and it's very helpful in identifying and understanding people's relationship with their money and finances. Then this report serves as a guideline for us moving forward with their plan. Then we complete a review of all their current stock and 401k accounts. Now, you would be amazed at the hidden cost, fees, excess commissions, high turnover rates, and inefficient funds that we uncover for many of my clients. And then lastly, Mark, we finally present them with a structured income plan detailing everything from taxes, inflation, healthcare costs, monthly expenses, and their legacy distribution on a year-to-year basis out to age 100 and even beyond sometimes. And more importantly, Mark, for clients with an income concern, we can help design a plan for them that will ensure their assets can last for a lifetime.
What would you say is one of the most important things your clients should consider when trying to overcome this challenge?
Well, Mark, I meet with people from many walks of life, and there's one stumbling block that I see a lot of, and that is because most folks have not found an advisor that they like or can trust, they tend to try to go it alone. It's so critically important, Mark, for folks listening to understand that your retirement income planning is not a do-it-yourselfer job. You could very easily make a small mistake that could potentially have huge adverse effects in your retirement later on down the road, like the inflation calculation that I just mentioned earlier. Now, we like to help people get it right the first time so that they can sleep soundly at night, even when there's a financial crisis storming outside. I love this quote by the late, great Jim Rohn, and it's so true for all of us on many, many levels. What you don't know, you don't know. And sometimes what you think you know really isn't so. I like to help folks uncover what they don't know.
So your specialized training and expertise helps them arrive at their desired results?
Yes, it does. And without slinging a lot of financial jargon around, Mark, it's like the concept of exercising to stay healthy that we're all familiar with. You can probably go down to the gym and walk on a treadmill, lift a few weights, and stay in reasonable shape. Well, that's called winging it, right?
Mm-hmm.
But what if your life depended on a precise outcome from that exercise? Wouldn't it make sense to have the watchful eye of a professional trainer telling you what to do, when to do it, and how to do it for maximum results? Well, my clients' quality of life and their financial longevity depend on decisions that they make today. I actually like to think of myself as a financial personal trainer who helps folks maximize their assets to their full potential. Now, I believe folks want to live life to its fullest, and maximizing their assets in a manner that will help them live a life with financial peace of mind and confidence that they won't outlive their income, well, I think that's just a great way to live retirement. It's also important to note, Mark, that when folks work with me, they become part of the Tampa Bay Advisory family. So they will receive other benefits and have access to my estate planning and Medicare professionals, as well as other hand-picked professionals who I've come to know and trust over the years.
So, Michael, what's the next step for someone who's interested in getting peace of mind for their finances?
Well, Mark, they could set a 45-minute get-to-know-you meeting with me so that we can have a candid and open conversation about how they got to where they are today financially and what they've enjoyed or maybe not enjoyed along the way. That sets the table for everything else. Even though I work with the majority of people that come in and visit with me, sometimes, depending on their needs, we may agree that I'm not the right person to help them. And if we do, we'll part friends, and my door will remain open in the future. Just remember, when you walk through my door, I have no preconceived notion that you will be doing business with me. Everyone's different, and not every client is a good fit. So I hope that candidness will help people understand that it won't be a scary, high-pressure experience when they come to visit me. Just an open, honest dialogue to determine, what their next step would be. They can call me at 813-854-4400 or go to my website, tampabayadvisory.com, and book an appointment with me there.
Michael, this has been absolutely terrific, and you've given some really great sage advice. And I really want to thank you for joining us on the program and sharing with our listeners today. I wish you continued success for you and for all of your clients.
Thanks a lot, Mark. I enjoyed being on the show.
I'm Mark Imperial, and this is the program spotlighting noteworthy professionals, experts, and business owners from around the world and in your town. If you know a great business or professional that we should feature on the program, I'd like to hear from you. You could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. Once again, that's radio@markimperial.com. In this next segment, our home stretch, I've got a special treat for you. If you're a business owner or professional, or if you aspire to be one, for over 7 years, I've been interviewing leading experts and business celebrities and sharing their secrets to success with you. From my first show, Entrepreneur's Edge, to Game Changers Radio, to Mad Rocket Business, all the way to Remarkable Radio and this program today, in this home stretch, I'm bringing you a flashback to one of my most popular episodes, covering how to attract clients magnetically using only the power of words and without costly branding. So enjoy this very special edition home stretch, and here we go.
Now, get the edge. Here are Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome to the show. It's Mark Imperial, another power thinking hour here at Entrepreneur's Edge.
Mark, this is Tom Rebar, and it is time for all the capitalists and all of the entrepreneurs and the self-employed people and the professionals in private practice and all the sales and marketing pros to come out of the woodwork and put their feet up and join together.
That's right.
And learn for an hour.
That's right. So welcome back, everybody. And we've got a terrific show. We're recapping a fantastic week that we had here at Entrepreneur's Edge. We just had our Entrepreneur's Edge live event last Wednesday, and boy, it was a hoot. The party was jumping. I'm telling you, they almost had to kick us out of that hotel.
They did, and there's nothing like talking about advertising and copywriting that gets people out of their chairs, because once you start talking about that, people realize that even if you thought you knew everything there was to know about it, you realize there's more to learn and more to still learn.
Yeah, the place was absolutely on fire. We had Conrad Hall and Ken Schreiber join us in speaking on copywriting and writing the words that sell your business. What better way to get to the bullet points of that than to recap what we talked about at Wednesday's event?
Go for it.
And you know what? In fact, if you missed it, you really missed a hugely valuable opportunity to boost your response. Because I'm talking about, we talked about headlines and postcard and copy that got 4 to 5 times the response of another control. So that's a 400 to 500% increase by just changing the words on the paper. How many folks don't think about that?
A whole bunch.
So we started out, one of our guest speakers, Ken Schreiber, he was talking about lead generation and the minute differences about generating leads with your copy as opposed to like using sales conversion. Now, one of the key points and takeaways he talked about, he started out, check this out. The first thing he said when he got up on the stage is he said, "Who here wants a surefire way to get new customers or prospects without any marketing cost?" And all the hands went up, right?
Mine went up.
Yeah.
I was the first one.
Now, guess what? He says that was the first lesson in lead generation. You are trying to identify exactly with the person what is it that they want. So if you have the right market, the right list, and then you give them that question, who wants this solution? And you're talking directly at a person, and they raise their hand and identify. That is it. That's as simple as that. And then you make them an offer that they just can't refuse.
Because all you want is to find out who those people are who are willing to raise their hand.
Yeah, and you could adapt that into any business type that you can. Now look at this. Another key is speaking directly at that target person. If you get a list, if you're doing a mailing, a postcard mailing, and you know who that customer is you're looking for, you identify it and you speak directly at their problems. You have to identify, and we talked about this. I call it the hidden benefit, because you have to think about your customer and think of all the problems that they have in their lives, because what you are is you're a problem solver. That brings up another point. A lot of business owners, a lot of businesses out there, they make the mistake, and we had some folks talk about this in the room as well. I say, what is your ad about? What was the message you put in your marketing? And they said, well, a discount, a discount or percentage off. And the reality is that they're trying to sell their product directly. And we say that
kind of hurts your response, because when you try to sell your product directly, the only people that are responding are those that are ready to buy like your widget or your thing right now.
At that immediate point in time.
So it's about transcending timing. So we're going to be back after this break and continue, because we've got a lot of nuggets that came out of that event on writing words that sell. BusinessEdgeRadio.com. Go to the website, get our free gift, and we'll be right back after this.
Stay with us.
Business owners and entrepreneurs. Once again, here's Mark and Tom.
Hey, welcome back to your Power Thinking Hour for entrepreneurs and business owners. It's Mark Imperial.
This is Tom Rebar. Hey, Mark, let's go back to that, the story you were telling right before the break about the person who was going for the jugular and trying to make the big sale right out of the gate. Let's try to make sure we bring the loop fully closed there. What do you do to get around that?
Well, let's see. As I mentioned, a lot of business owners, they think, they're not, they're in the mindset of, I got to sell my thing. So they're focused on, how can I sell my thing? Let me present my product or my service, and let me give a discount or a coupon. That's like the knee-jerk reaction to what they're offering.
And then when people don't buy, right away they think, my price is still too high, so they get into this headset of, now I got a further discount.
Yeah, they're focusing on the wrong thing, and it's because they get a low response rate. But our answer to that, what we know from testing, is that the low response rate is because you're not transcending timing. You're making an offer for people that are ready to buy right that minute. But then when somebody is in the buying cycle, but they're not just quite ready to buy yet, and maybe a month down the road, they forgot all about you. You're only picking up the immediate buyers. You have to find a way to transcend the timing, and we do that with lead generation.
And it has nothing to do with price.
That's right.
Get price out of your head, that it's not that your price is too high.
That's often the last thing to even consider is the price. I mean, the example that I'm going to give you and for the listeners is we had a terrific home remodeling company in the audience and asked us, how do we directly link what we're talking about here at the event to his type of business? I said, is there a business that feels like they don't know how to link this lead generation strategy to theirs? And then he raised his hand and he said, home remodeling. What do I do? And I said, what are you doing currently to get your business? He said, I did a mailing. What was the offer on the mailing? It was a discount of some sort. And we told him the same thing. You're selling a discount. You're only going to pick up the buyers ready to buy now. And then he said, well, what's the alternative? Well, the alternative is you want to find people that may not just be thinking about buying right now, but maybe they're already in their head. You know what? 6 months from now, a year from now, I know I'm going to have a move. How are you going to get those people to identify themselves so you can continue to stay in front of them? Well, we said, why don't you offer a report called, the 7 deadly traps and how to avoid them, how to save blah, blah, blah on your remodeling costs, how to get how to remodel your kitchen, your home or whatever, and save the maximum. 7 deadly traps, a report that is going to be useful to that prospect. That way, even if it's 6 months or a year from now that they're thinking about the move, they still want that free report. That little trick alone increases the response 4 or 5 times.
Easily. And you could tell that this fella, because I was sitting across the room from him, he had a big smile on his face as soon as you started to unveil that story, because you could tell right away he got it. Mm-hmm. And head kind of went back into oh, that makes sense right away to him. So
that's right.
He was a very smart person.
Yeah. So, back to the list of what Ken Schreiber was speaking about. He's, another nugget was speak directly at him. Who is it that you're mailing to and what is their direct problem? The next point is the everyone's favorite radio station besides WIND is WIIFM. What's in it for me?
Exactly.
So that, literally the headline or the message that you put on your mailing pieces has to address directly at them because it has to pass that test. Conrad Hall mentioned this, the so what test. You read your headline, whatever you consider your headline, and run it through your own head and say, okay, I read something and so what? Is it going to make you say so what, or is it going to intrigue you to read further?
Well, in fact, he even suggests to do that for every one of your bullets. When you put the bullet there, just read it out loud and say, now, so what? What is that person going to answer if they read it and you say, so what, to give yourself a chance to substantiate that bullet in your head?
Yes, that's right.
Is it a worthy bullet?
Yep. And I have a litmus test actually for you. Let's first of all, let's wrap up with what Conrad was talking about before we even go into the litmus test on headlines. But, Conrad has a great description for copywriting. He said it's the art of using words to create action. Now think about that. The art of using words to create action. How many folks really think of their advertising in that way? The most of the time I see people doing an advertisement, it's like the name of their company or their logo. How does that create any action?
One of the best testimonials for last night was I brought my assistant along to your summit. He is just beginning to think about the art of copywriting. And when we left, he said that was one of the best meetings he's ever been to. And he got more notes in a short period of time about how to write copy than he ever thought he would by coming along last night.
It's incredible. And, a lot of the stuff that, many of our pros in Mastermind, for example, we take it for granted because we've been so immersed in this kind of marketing, but it's eye-opening for many. For example, one of the big keys that was huge for everyone in the room was when Ken Schreiber described, and remember the headline, who else here wants to know how to acquire new customers and prospects without any acquisition cost? Right. Now, how do you do it without acquisition cost? Well, if you were at the summit, I don't have enough time in the next 4 minutes to tell you, but you can do, it was a brilliant strategy he had about liquidating your marketing costs. Mm-hmm. And so you have to be at Entrepreneur's Edge live events. And these are the kind of things that we talk about. So, this is probably the best time ever to give a plug for the next live event. Make sure you go to Business Edge Live or businessedgeradio.com, click on the live events tab, and you're going to find the next meeting in Madison, the next meeting in Green Bay, and the next meeting in Oak Brook. Hey, we've only got about a minute here, and I want to talk about one bullet. I have about 12 here.
Go ahead.
But let's talk about the headline, because what is the headline? The headline of your ad is the ad for your ad. Does that make sense? And what is the only job of the headline?
The only job of the headline is to shout it out and get somebody to be interested in taking the next step, which is to read what else is there.
Read the next line, absolutely. And it's the most valuable real estate on your ad or your postcard or your mailing. And what do most companies inadvertently waste in that space? What do they do in that space instead?
How many people put the name of their company or their logo up at the top of the ad or the top of their website, and then they wonder why nobody's reading it? It's because they never had a headline there.
Hey, in the wrap-up, I'm going to give my litmus test for great headlines for all the listeners. After the break, Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois, will be joining us to give us his tips, tricks, and secrets for furnishing your office. We'll be right back. BusinessEdgeRadio.com.
We'll be here. Stay with us. BusinessEdgeRadio.com for all the events.
Hey, we're back. It's Mark Imperial.
And this is Tom Rebar. We are in the home stretch again. Mark, I can't believe another week has gone by so fast.
That's right. Hey, we're back here with Tom Apicella from Think Spaces in Naperville, Illinois. Hey, Tom, I wanted to ask you just recently joined our mastermind group here at Entrepreneur's Edge. Can you tell me what drew you to the group and what you're getting out of it so far?
Well, what drew me to the mastermind group is, I want to have other like-minded entrepreneurs and people that I can basically bounce ideas off of, talk about my business to help expand it. Because as a lot of people know, there's a lot of businesses in one business that you can extrapolate from. So just having that, and then it's also, for accountability when you come up with new strategies and ideas, there's some accountability because they're going to ask you, well, what did you do with what you said you were going to do with last month?
Yeah.
And, action is the way to make things happen in business.
That's terrific. And now for the folks listening, whether they're a property manager or a business owner looking to move or improve their spaces, how can they get a hold of you for your information?
You can go to thinkspaces.net and you can fill out one of our interior design contact forms, or there's a phone number on there that you can call, 630-324-4598.
Tom, it was terrific having you on the show. Thank you for coming out today.
Thanks for having me, guys. Enjoy the show.
Terrific. Thank you. Tom, we're on the home stretch now.
We are. I can't believe it.
Now, I promised a litmus test for people to test whether their headlines are any good.
So give them.
All right, here it is. Now, this is sort of like the classified test, if you think of like a classified ad. And what are the classified ads all about? It's usually a small, tiny little ad, right?
Very small.
With just, you don't have enough room to put anything but a blurb and a call to action, a CTA, like a phone number, right?
That's exactly right.
So what you do is you take whatever you think is your headline, and then you neuter out everything else and just put your phone number or whatever your response mechanism is under it. And if the two make sense and entice you to move forward, like, let me give you an example. What do most people use as their headline that's wrong? And we talk about this a lot. The company name, right?
Name and maybe a logo.
So let's look at the litmus test. A to Z painting, phone number. Now, is that entice you to take any action?
So who'd call with A to Z painting and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9?
That's right. There's no words that cause action. Now, what if the headline, let me think just off of the top of my head here. Let's use an example for a bowling alley, okay? Something weird. Now, what if the headline said how to bowl a 300 every time and then a phone number? Now, that causes you a little bit more enticement to call that number.
Sure
So
would.
there's a difference between that's the litmus test. Take your headline and put just the headline and the phone number or response mechanism. And is that enough to make somebody take some action? That's the litmus test.
Great test.
So that makes every word count.
Hopefully nobody just puts that in an ad, a headline and a phone number. It'd be nice to have a little more copy than that. But I understand what the litmus test is.
Yes, absolutely. So that's what we talked about. And it's about all the time we had to talk about today was headlines, but It's the most important piece. What else do we know about headlines? Headlines are the most important part of the ad. You remember at the event, I gave you 3 headlines that were tested. And I'll tell you what, let's do the test right now. One of the headlines got 5 times the response of the other 2. Was it headline A, I've never been able to get a good portrait of my child until now? Or B, finally a children's portrait worth more than the paper it's printed on? Or C, the best children's portrait at the right price guaranteed? We did this test. People raised their hand. The room was about split, but the answer is B. And again, we said, what's the reason why? Everyone gave reasons that they thought why B won, but the truth is it doesn't matter. You just have to test.
And everybody's afraid to test.
And guess what? They didn't change any other part of the ad.
Customer.
Just the headline.
Hey, go out to businessedgeradio.com. We have Wayne Brightbath coming this next month in March up in Green Bay and Madison. He's going to talk about business use of LinkedIn. Unbelievable ideas, so come and see us.
See you later.
Hey, it's Mark Imperial. I hope you enjoyed those highlights. Again, if you know a professional or business that we should feature on the show, you could nominate them by emailing me at radio@markimperial.com. One more time, that's radio@markimperial.com. Until next time, this is Mark Imperial. Make it a remarkable week. Take care, everybody.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.